Hi there, my name is Carrie. I'm so glad to have you here. We are going to jump right into this Bob Ross makeup, which I finally feel like I've cracked the code a little bit more for by using the Mehron Paradise paints rather than messing around with cream products. So let's get right into it. I've been the tiniest bit of a pickle today because for season 27, episode 12, which is Forest River, it is such a beautiful painting. But it starts with a black gesso backdrop. Layering the Paradise paints can be interesting. So I'm just going to do a thin, watered down layer of black, and I mixed a tiny touch of gray with it. So I'm just going to paint this all over. I've got a little bit too much gray over here. Making sure to paint going down my arms so we can blend the paint going downward. It's always fun using my left hand to paint my right arm. Alright, we are going to call this a pretty good base. We have the paint wrapping around to the sides, and most of it's going to be covered up, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Now using gray, black, and white, he just takes the liner brush, and this is actually before the video even started, so he doesn't show this part. But he just does these trees coming down at the top part of the video. So I'm just starting with gray, and it's kind of weird because I have these dips in my like collarbone where the brush doesn't flow nicely onto. So we're just kind of going for it. See? I'm going to go in with some lighter gray right now. I mixed it with white, so these are going to stand out the most. I'm really not putting too much thought into these. But then next we need to go in and do the little branches and the leaves that go on them. We're adding on little limbs and then some kind of leaves. He said to just keep using the liner brush, so that is what I'm going to do. Starting with the black, and then I'll work my way up to using the white. And I'm going to do a little bit coming in with white. So here is where one big difference comes in between his painting on canvas and my painting on myself, is that after this step, you would do a layer of liquid clear. Maybe I'll do, I could do some setting spray on top. I feel like it doesn't hurt. I totally did not have this idea ready, but I love the idea. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm going to use Mehron's barrier spray, which creates a layer between the previous layer that you've been working on, and it also kind of waterproofs it. So I'm just gonna give it a couple sprays. That was a lot. Now I'm gonna let it dry for 30 seconds or a minute before I keep going. We are going to move on to the next step, which is adding what color is this? We're going to use Phthalo Blue, which I'm going to use Lagoon Blue from Mehron. I'm going to try using this big brush, this big Mark Reed signature brush, number 30. He says not a lot of paint on the brush, and he's just making these little crisscross am so impressed that this layering technique even worked at all with the barrier spray, so I'm very happy about that. Next, he's going in with Prussian blue, so I'm going to use some of the dark blue Mayron Paradise paints, and he said he's going to darken some of the corners, so I'm just lightly going in with that crisscross technique to darken a little bit. Next, we are going to add all of the light that's coming through the trees. So he is using titanium white. I'm going to use Mayron Paradise Paint White, and he uses the same brush as before, but cleans it off. So I cleaned my brush off in the sink, and I dried it off pretty well. There's still some water in there, but should be good to go for me to use my white.
Area and begin working around. Notice that we're keeping that corner in the light spot. And by blending it out, it'll become transparent there. You can still make out the images of the trees in there, but they're washed out to achieve a desired lightness or desired brightness.
He has mixed black, Prussian blue, crimson, sap green, and brown. I'm mostly using black. I added a couple of the other colors to my brush, but we're sticking with this. And then just creating this area in the back to give a better line where the trees kind of start. Next up, I am mixing these three colors. This is Dijon yellow and Amazon green. I'm ending on the Dijon color. We're going to be creating some grassy areas in the back now. That's very, very bright. So I'm wiping my brush off a little bit.
There, right. Very gently. All you do is barely touching the canvas. Don't put a lot of color on here. It shows up. You need very, very little white to do this. Very little.
We're going back in with our white reflection here, but keeping it nice and light so that this part is brighter than up here. We are moving on to making some rocks and stones next. He mixed a light brown and a dark brown, which I have attempted to do in here. This is black, dark brown, and the shade Foxy from Paradise Paints, and this is white, Foxy, and some of the dark brown. And we are going to use a filbert brush, which is like this kind of shape. There we go. And we're going to put the dark color on one side and the light on the other side. Okay, he said both sides for the dark and then one side with the light color. Yeah. All right, I need to get my paint a little thicker. Now mixing directly in the paint palette rather than in the little cup. So let's give this another try. All right.
Let's put some on the other side. I used to agonize over rocks trying to get over there.
The liner brush, white, and a little bit of phthalo blue. I'm using the dark blue, and we're just going to lightly go around these rocks with a nice thin watered down paint. Going back in with our big brush that had all of the dark colors on it, and we're just going to come across from here. There we go. We're at 14 minutes out of 24. looking good so far. I was just thinking about how next month I would like to slow down my process some more. So far this has only been 1 hour of work, and I know that right around like the 2 or 3 hour mark is probably best for doing these makeups. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next step. We're actually right around 15 minutes out of 24. So got a little ways to go, but it's looking good, I think. A fan brush that has Foxy and dark brown on it. He used Van Dyke Brown and Sienna, but we're just going to pull the tree down. We'll have our end right around here. So I'm just gonna go from here. Boom. All right, I'm definitely gonna have to go over that a couple times. I'm gonna actually start from the bottom. He only does a couple little arms on the tree, so I'm going to use the liner brush and black and dark brown. Whoosh. Am I blocking the camera? I hope not. Let's go here. Alright you guys, we are at the end of this paint, and this is the part where Bob Ross signs his painting, which I have not done on myself yet. I think I'm going to do it today. I think like this is the perfect spot for it, so I'm gonna try and do my signature backwards so that it's facing the correct direction. And I'm going to finish doing my face makeup and hair off camera, and then I'll come back with how it looks all together in front of my backdrop. And yeah. Here is the final makeup. I'm happy with how it turned out, but I do wish the blues would have been a little bit more vibrant, and I think because of the black base with the Paradise paints that it is so different from using regular paint and gesso on canvas that the body paint wasn't as bright as I would have liked for it to be. But I still think it's a very pretty paint. I got it done in around 2 hours. If you like my Bob Ross makeup series, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe so that I can see you guys back here next time.